Thanks for joining us here for another edition of the Roadrunners Coaches Corner. We're in a jam-packed house here at the Tivoli Tap House, located on the Auraria campus, home to MSU Denver. This is the show where we get you caught up on Roadrunners sports. I'm Stephen Priest, and back with me this week is Hector Venegas, my usual co-host. Today on the show, we'll bring in RMAC Coach of the Year and Regional Coach of the Year in Jenny Glenn. She'll talk about the NCAA Tournament run her squad was just on and how the season overall went in her first year as head coach. In addition to that, we'll talk to head coach Jeremy Tittle of the men's soccer team. He'll wrap up the 2016 season as well, talk about what his team did in the RMAC Tournament and what they're going to do to prepare going forward for next year. And finally, keeping it with men's soccer, we'll talk with Dimitri Ney, freshman of your men's soccer team. We'll see how his first year went here in the U.S. as he's from France and talk to him about what he expects to do next season. But before we get to all that, let's recap what happened in the Roadrunner weekend. So we start with a little bit of sad news as Adrian Peets, the head coach of our women's soccer team, is resigning from the MSU Denver program. After 9 years as head coach, 2 years as an assistant coach, and 2 years as a player, the Bakersfield, California native is heading back home to be closer to family. Peets finished her career with an impressive 124, 40, and 30 record, winning 2 RMAC regular season championships. RMAC Tournament. You got to do it again?
Just start that last line.
Okay. Start with the last sentence, or just okay? Where was it? Peets finished her career with an impressive 124, 40, and 30 record, winning 2 RMAC regular season championships, a RMAC tournament championship, and led her squad to 7 NCAA tournament appearances. She also helped the program win 2 national championships, one as a player and once as an assistant head coach. The Coach's Corner wishes Adrian, her husband Mike, and her baby Catalina all the best heading back to California. Let's get into some men's basketball highlights. They first took on South Dakota Mines this past Friday at the Auraria Event Center. It was senior guard Brian Howard who had a career night, scoring 21 points on 7 of 12 shooting, 4 of those coming from long range. While Howard was tearing it up on the offensive side, it was Andre Harris who was working shot defensively. The senior blocked 6 hard rocker shots, holding South Dakota Mines to just 33% shooting. Coach Derek Clark's squad won this game by a final of 73-54. The following night versus Black Hills State, the Yellow Jackets came in and they had some defense to try and contend with from the Roadrunners. The Metro State Roadrunners forced 15 turnovers and held their opponent to a season-low 40 total points. Junior Peter Moeller paced the red and blue with 22 points scored, knocking down 5 of 6 triples in 29 minutes. Andre Harris also, side note, earned RMAC Defensive Player of the Week honor, so congrats to him on that. Moving along to women's basketball, they had a great weekend of action as well. Head coach Tanya Javi and her squad held South Dakota School Mines to just 31% shooting and forced them into 19 turnovers. Junior Georgia Ordorf led all runners with 17 points scored while also pulling down 11 rebounds. On Saturday, Black Hills State Janae Squires Horton exploded for 15 points in the second quarter, all of them coming from beyond the arc. Senior Janae Payne bullied her way to 10 points and 3 rebounds. Women's basketball off to a great start in the conference play, going 2-0 to kick off the RMAC season. And we finished with the volleyball team who ventured to San Angelo, Texas for the South Central Regionals of the NCAA Tournament. They first took on a familiar RMAC foe in Colorado Mesa, and the Mavericks came in to play in the first round. Mackenzie Edwards had a night to remember, pounding out a game-high 25 kills and recording an amazing 30 digs. Mesa would force a 5th set out of MSU Denver, but the Roadrunners prevailed on the shoulders of Michaela Smith, who recorded 13 kills and 14 digs, and on Santasia Sturgis, who tallied 10 kills and 17 digs. Tarleton State was up next for the red and blue, and it was the Tex-Ans who took the first set 25-20. But it was all Roadrunners after that, hitting an impressive 409 the second set to get things going. Sophomore libero Jackie Lopez was amazing, recording a season-high 30 digs to keep Tarleton's hitters at bay. Brandy Torr dished out 49 assists in the 3-1 win over TSU. Into the Sweet 16 we go, and it was a dogfight for the right to move on to Sioux Falls for the Elite 8. The first set was a battle for both teams, trading shots, going kill for kill, well past 25 points, but the Ram Bells would get the final point to take set 1, 29-27. The Roadrunners played the host team tough, but Angelo was too strong on their home floor, winning 3-0. Michaela Smith and Santasia Sturgis were named to the all-tournament team in that one. So now we'll welcome in head coach of your women's volleyball squad, RMAC Coach of the Year, Region Coach of the Year, Coach Jenny Glenn. Thanks, Coach, for taking out the time. How are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
Doing well. Let's first look back on that NCAA tournament run. The first round matchup against Mesa, an RMAC team you beat twice already in the regular season, but they came out battling in that playoff matchup, forcing 5 sets. Just talk about that match a little bit.
Yeah, we knew that they would probably look different for us. We had played them twice, and we thought they would change their lineup a little bit to get a different look for us, and they did. So we basically threw our scouting report out in the first set and kind of had to readjust. They were running a different offense, different defense against us. It took us some time to get used to that and get our nerves out a little bit. But finally, we kind of found ourselves again, and were able to pull it out in 5. But it was a tight, scary one.
Now, the following night, you take on a non-RMAC opponent in Tarleton State, featured an all-American outside hitter in Haley Roberts, but you were able to kind of neutralize her. What did you do defensively, or what was the mindset going into that one?
Well, we were just excited to play a non-RMAC team, to be able to play someone different across the net that doesn't know us as well,
right,
and that we kind of were fresh eyes upon. So that was a lot of fun. I thought we came out a little tight and tentative in that first set as well, but then we finally found ourselves. I felt like we hadn't been playing like ourselves for about the past 3 weeks, and then finally we found ourselves again in that second set, and we're able to continue on and finish out that match in 4.
Well, you mentioned that second set. You did come alive, hitting 402 to finish off the Texans 3-1. What was it that kind of had you guys starting slow or tentative, as you mentioned, and what do you think sparked it a little bit?
I wish I knew, but I think we just decided that, the monkey was kind of off our back after we won that first round match. We hadn't made it past that first round in a while. And I think we just are a team that takes a little time to adjust to what's going on in the match. In that match, we were getting beat defensively a lot in that first set. We finally dialed in their hitters, being new and different. Jackie kind of stepped up after that first set and dug a lot of balls. And I think we finally dialed them in enough to be able to control that side and then focus really on what we were doing. We wanted to be the team in control, running our offense at the speed that we wanted to run at, and then not just responding to what they were doing to us.
Now let's talk about that Sweet 16 matchup. You took on the #1 team in the region, Angelo State, a team you saw way back in the Colorado Premier Challenge. That first set was back and forth going past 25. Is that what volleyball at the highest level kind of looks like?
Yeah, we talked before. I said this is what we train for. This is going to be a fun match tonight. We knew it'd be a battle, considering we took them to 5 at our place early on. We knew they were playing very good, and we were playing our best volleyball as well. So we knew it would be a battle, and we knew both teams had never been to the Elite Eight, and we're going to be battling that out. And that first set could have gone either way. I thought we had it at one moment, and then the tides turned a little bit. Things just didn't quite fall for us that night, and it did for them. And kind of moved into that second set. Kind of similar story. We were up, weren't able to close it out. Good teams, when the score gets to 20, find ways to win, and we've been doing that all year. So it was going to be interesting, and they're used to doing that all year. So they had an outside hitter that in Mallory Blosser that had an amazing night against us, and we had a really tough time defending. So when it came push to shove, she was able to score.
Now Angelo finished the third set. It was definitely a tough mountain for you guys to climb, down 2-0, but as you mentioned, both sets really could have gone either way, but they were able to kind of squeak those ones out. One of the top teams in the nations, but after a loss like that, what do you tell your squad after such an amazing season, even though you didn't get the desired result?
Well, the first thing I said is how proud I was of them. I think this team has excelled and maybe overachieved in a lot of areas. We set lofty goals at the beginning of the season, and we accomplished a lot of them. I think we were pleased that we played well in our final match, and that they had to play better to beat us, and that's what they did that night. But we can't look past all of our accomplishments, and what we've done as a group has just been incredible this year.
Now, you mentioned the accomplishments you guys had. The list goes on and on. This is your first year, so you've had a little bit of time to reflect on it. What was your favorite moments, or how do you think this first season went for you?
Oh, favorite moments. We talked about that the other night. I think there's a lot. Different wins stand out, those kind of things. I think the thing for me as a first-year head coach is I just feel so blessed to have a great group of girls and a great staff. Bobby and Amy, my 2 assistants, I couldn't speak more highly of, that they were just as much a part of this as everybody else, and working hard to find ways for us to win. Our group of senior leaders in Kirsten Anderson and Vasadi, even though we hope we get her back, and Michaela Smith and Brandy Torr, they just responded to anything I asked of them. So, you know, as a coach, you can't ask for more than that. That when we had a challenge in front of us, we attacked it. And I think that's maybe my favorite thing on the season, is that anytime I challenge them with something, they said yes and let's go. And it's fun when you can overcome those little obstacles.
Well, Coach, we had a blast watching you and the team all season long. We're excited we got to witness history, seeing a team go 18-0 in conference play. It was fun to watch, fun to cover you guys all season long. We can't wait for next year, and hopefully we can get back at it and go a little bit further this time.
Absolutely, that's the goal.
Thank you so much, Coach, again for joining us. Don't you go anywhere. As up next, we'll have men's soccer coach Jeremy Tittle to talk about the 2016 season for him, the RMAC Tournament, and what they plan to do next year to go a little bit further as well. You don't want to miss that on the Roadrunners Coaches Corner.
I pledge.
I pledge.
I pledge.
To identify situations in which sexual assault may occur.
To recognize that non-consensual sex is sexual assault.
I pledge.
I pledge. To create an environment in which sexual assault is unacceptable and survivors are supported.
To intervene in situations where consent has not or cannot be given.
Hi, I'm Tyrone Braxton. I won 2 Super Bowl rings and was an all-pro safety. But I wanted to do more with my life. I knew I wanted to help people, and MSU Denver helped me figure out my next steps. As a case manager at the Mental Health Center Denver, I'm helping people re-enter society. And this is so much better than those 2 Super Bowl rings. I reinvented myself at MSU Denver.
If I lose, I'll respond with respect.
If I win, I'll back it up with humility.
If I fail, I'll rise up with honor. It's tough for us to put it all on the line.
Don't undo my hard work with poor sportsmanship.
Respect. It's the name of the game.
Met Radio on mymetmedia.com. I'm Lexi Marr, senior defender for the Roadrunners women's soccer team.
These teams looking for offense, and there's Marr, the all-conference defender.
And you're watching the Coach's Corner. Get rowdy.
I'm Anthony Grant, Director of Athletics at MSU Denver.
It's because of your generosity and support that our athletic programs have been able to achieve sustained success and continue to be one of the top athletic departments in the nation.
And you're watching the Coach's Corner. Get rowdy.
Thanks for sticking with us here on the Roadrunners Coaches Corner. Remember to keep up with all of MSU Denver sports, like Coach Glenn and the volleyball squad, or even Coach Jeremy Tittle and the men's soccer squad at RoadrunnersAthletics.com. And we now welcome in the aforementioned head coach Jeremy Tittle. Coach, thanks for taking out the time. How you doing tonight?
Always great to join you guys. Thanks.
Always a pleasure to have you on, Coach. Last time we had you here, we were talking some playoff soccer, so let's kind of dig into that a little bit. You finished the regular season winning the last 3 games. You earned the 5th seed going into the RMAC Tournament. Take the short road to travel and play Colorado School of Mines. Talk about how that game went for you guys.
Yeah, it was a tough game. I mean, Mines is a good team. We ended up having to go to play at their place, but we had done that earlier in the season and found success at their place doing it. We knew, the game plan, the type of game, and the guys throughout the season, I think, really grew in how they manage the game, not just play the game, but the team really grew in how they manage the game, and I thought we managed the game really well that day.
Now, into the game, the Orediggers actually get a red card on a hard foul in that first half. What was going through your mind during that point? And as a coach, how do you kind of adapt or change the strategy to exploit that?
Sure. I gave big credit after we confirmed that Danny Bautista, who received that tackle, was okay. I gave him big credit because we talk about competing, and you never know when you're trying to break up a play if that's going to be the difference that could ultimately be the difference in a game. It's rare that it's that distinct of a difference in a game when you end up having a red card, but he had an opportunity to not go into that tackle and force the guy to make a play on him, and he went for it. And so we were the benefactor of them playing a man down, and I thought we managed that really well, and we didn't we went back and forth with different ideas about how to play. Sometimes it can throw you off when you're playing against a man less. You're so used to expecting a certain way. But we knew that we could break them down, and we needed to be very patient about doing it, and then we started doing it.
Well, despite being a man down, Mines was able to score right before the half, around the 43rd minute. Typically, that could be a huge momentum swing for teams.
Yeah.
What was your mindset going into the half? What did you tell the team to kind of keep them patient?
You know, I'm going to defer that question to Dimitri. Will you save that one for Dimitri?
Yeah.
Because we had a pretty unique halftime talk.
Okay.
We went pretty far away from the field and kind of halfway between the parking lot and a bunch of bushes and trees, and it was not a yelling match. You know, it might sound like that was being set up for a yelling match, but no. Yeah, so I'll be interested to see how he does with that one. But I think it was an appropriate conversation. It wasn't just me talking at them, but we talked together as a team and got everybody focused on what we needed to do, and then we went out and took care of it.
Well, whatever was said, it did work. Coming out of that half, in the 56th minute, Jeff Gillis, he came up huge all season long for you. Did again there, scoring the goal. And then into overtime, he scores again, first minute and 11 seconds. What a big-time performance for Gillis, a guy who played his entire collegiate career here at MSU Denver. Just talk about what he meant to the program and in those games for you.
Jeff, in his time as a Roadrunner, each year he'd become more clutch. And in his freshman year, he was a little bit that way, a little bit more as sophomore, a little bit more as a junior, and then we saw it again his senior year. It became something that we could actually count on at the end of the season. It happened so often. So I was not surprised that Jeff made a big run at the end, as he's known to do, and this was the best of his 4 years at doing it. And I don't think it was missed by anybody else outside of our team either, because he was the only player in the all-tournament team that was not in the final game of the conference tournament. So that says something about how he was being recognized by other coaches.
Now, after that win, you guys took on another tough opponent in Colorado Mesa, going up to Grand Junction. What was the thought process in that game? How do you try and get past one tough opponent to kind of get your mindset ready to take on another tough one?
Yeah, well, we knew who the next opponent was going to be. I mean, they had a bye on Wednesday. We knew if we won that we'd be playing them. We've played them well in each of the other two occasions we've played them on the season, even though the scores were really different. We felt like we matched up against them really well. We had some concern because we were going to be missing Dustin Berg. He was out injured. Arturo Vega was injured earlier and was just coming back, but not anywhere near 100%. Big credit to the other guys that stepped up into the field, and we had 2, if not 3 different game plans that we were ready to employ, even in the first half. So it was a fun, exciting game, and we, as you know, it went right down to the end.
Yeah, Jeff Gillis coming in, scoring quickly, and then Mesa able to answer that back in the 61st minute. The game would go into penalty kicks. When a game goes into that, I mean, it's just, at that point, it's anybody's ball game. But just talk about the fight you saw on your team all season long and through the RMAC tournament.
I think it's representative most in that last game. The quality of play and the fight that we had, while disappointing to lose for sure, I don't think, everybody looks at that game and like, we played well. Right. And we played hard, and there wasn't anything that we really left that undone, save the penalty kicks. So certainly we'll be looking at our preparation for those types of moments in the future, but it was a really quality game. I was really proud of how the guys played.
And then, Coach, first season under your belt, what can we look forward in the program?
Yeah, first season as the head coach without that interim title.
Yeah.
I've almost forgotten that I was interim at one point. It feels like 2 seasons now for me. So what to look forward to is, I guess, more of the same, but yet still looking to accomplish more. We won 13 games the first season. We only won 12 this season. We had higher aspirations in each of those seasons, and we're going to continue to have high aspirations.
Well, Coach, we want to thank you for joining us all season long. We're excited to see what the team does next season. We can't wait to get that geared up. And just thanks so much, and congrats on a good season.
Thank you. I really appreciate joining you guys when I do, and how you cover men's soccer. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, of course. All right, that'll do it for Coach Tittle, but we still have some men's soccer for you on tap, as up next we'll have freshman Dimitri Ney joining us, so you don't want to miss what he has to say about his first year as a Roadrunner.
Dobinson stops on a dime, now to Cortez. The Cortez feeding, count the bucket, and foul.
If you can't get enough of MSU Denver sports, then you need to tune in to the Roadrunner Review. Get into the game with exclusive highlights, interviews, player stories, and of course the top plays that will have you jumping out of your seat. You can catch all the action on Comcast CET and at RoadrunnersAthletics.com.
Hey, nice job, great spot!
I'm Joe Rice. I'm the Director of Government Relations for Lockheed Martin Space Systems. I transferred into MSU Denver while I was in the Colorado National Guard and after I completed my associate's degree. This was the only university where somebody actually sat down with me and helped me plan out my academic path to finish my degree and graduate on time. Reach for the stars, come to MSU Denver, launch your career.
Brought to you by your #1 volume Nissan dealer, Tynan's Nissan. Come in today and choose from nearly 1,200 new Nissans. Get 0% for 72 months with no payments for 90 days. During the Bottom Line event, lease the new Altima for only $149 per month. Gives you both efficiency and performance. Looking for an SUV? Then choose the all-wheel drive Rogue at just $159 per month. Also available with optional third-row seats. Bottom Line savings at Tynan's Nissan in Aurora and Fort Collins.
I'm Michaela Smith, senior outside hitter for the Roadrunner volleyball team.
All-American. There's Michaela Smith coming up with the solo block.
And you're watching the Coach's Corner. Get rowdy.
I'm Chris Davis from the Roadrunner cross country team, and you're watching the Coach's Corner. Get rowdy.
Final segment here on the Roadrunners Coaches Corner. We want to thank you, as always, for tuning in. Be sure to tune in every Monday from 5:30 to 6 p.m. as we'll be joined by MSU Denver coaches and players. Right now, we are joined by men's soccer freshman Dimitri Ney. Dimitri, thanks so much for taking out the time to join us tonight. Before we get started into your background a little bit, Coach Tittle wanted me to ask you, we talked to him about that Mines game in the RMAC Tournament. Right before half, they scored. And then at halftime, that sometimes could be a huge momentum swing. He wanted me to get your answer as to what you guys did at halftime, what was said to kind of combat that score.
So first of all, I am a pessimist man, so at halftime I was almost crying. But the mentality in America is to go forward and every time have hope. So we say that we are better than this team, and so we just have to work hard, and luck's gonna come. So we just have to be patient, and everything will be alright.
Well, it was, and you guys moved on, able to play Mesa. But let's get into you a little bit. On your profile page at RoadrunnersAthletics.com, it says your hometown is Grenoble, France. Tell us how you ended up here at MSU Denver.
So I have an agent, a company which is called FF USA. So 3 agents are working with me and take care of sending my video to university. So I had a lot of Skype with different universities in the US, and I chose Denver for a couple of reasons, but the main reason was the coach. I really trust the coach, and Denver is a big town, so I don't regret my choice.
Now, is your family still back in France, and when will you get to visit them again?
So in 4 days.
Okay.
I count the days.
That's good.
Yeah, I miss my family a lot.
Now, I'm assuming you're very fluent in French since that's your home country and your home language, but how did you learn English? How hard was it for you to learn English?
I am still learning. It's very hard, but it's hard for every international student, and thanks to school, I think school helped a lot. Teacher, etc., they are very helpful with us, so for the moment it's good.
Now, you played soccer in France, obviously, but the way you play in France is different than American soccer. Talk about some of the differences that you saw.
America is more athletic, I think, than Europe, because first of all, we have 2 games per week, so we have to be well prepared. But yeah, it's a bit more technical in Europe, because people start soccer very young, and the technique is very important.
Right.
But the main difference between the US and in France is the mentality. France is more individualistic. Like in the US, if you miss 2-3 shots in training, for example, your teammate is gonna make you feel better and it's gonna help you. In Europe, it's totally different. It's very individualistic.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Now, I gotta ask you this. So you come from France. Is there anything here in the U.S. that you found that you might like better than something in France, whether it's food or maybe TV, clothes, something like that? Is there anything like that, or is it you staying with France right there?
Now, not the food for sure, but now the mentality. Like people are more happy, they want more to talk. Where we are in an elevator, for example, people talk. Even you don't know these people, they're gonna talk to you. In France, it's everybody stay in their side, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
And Dimitri, so you scored 3 goals, assisted on 5 of them. How was your first season here at Metro?
The first season is always hard. You have to adapt yourself to the team. To be honest, I'm very disappointed about the statistic, but I talked with the coach and I think I did well. I helped the team offensively, but next year for sure I will do better. And now I know the team, so I know how it works. So I'm gonna try to have more objective next year.
And then, speaking of your coach, how has Coach Tittle helped you grow as a player?
First of all, he didn't help me just with soccer. That's why I wanted to come here, because he paid a lot of attention of school, family, every problem. When I have a problem, I go see him. And we had a couple of meetings together. And for example, the first meeting we had was at training, and he told me that he wanted me to be a bit more individualistic and try to make the difference alone. And so he helped me in every kind of subject. He can help me. Yeah.
Well, Dimitri, thanks so much for taking out the time to join us, man. You did great, and we look forward to seeing you and the squad next year. Hopefully, you guys can do well again.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Well, that'll do it for this edition. But before we wrap up, we're going to take a look at what's ahead this weekend for your Roadrunners. On Friday, they are only 5 miles away, but they take on Regis University. Speaking of our basketball teams, the women's team will tip off at 5 p.m. and the men will face the Rangers starting around 7 p.m. So make the short drive to Regis Fieldhouse and support the red and blue. On Saturday night, our hoops team travel to Chadron, Nebraska to battle the Eagles from Chadron State. Those games are set to go off at 5:30 and 7:30. The indoor track and field team will compete in 2 events on Friday. Part of the squad will head to Colorado Springs to compete in the Air Force Academy Holiday Open, while the rest will trip it to Golden for the School of Mines Alumni Open. So plenty of great action in Roadrunner sports. Always be sure to visit and keep up with all of MSU Denver sports at roadrunnersathletics.com. And for all the coaches, Jenny Glenn and Coach Jeremy Tittle and Dimitri Ney, we want to thank them for joining us. For Eric Lansing and all the MSU Denver Athletics staff and Hector Venegas, I'm Stephen Priest. We'll see you next time here on the Roadrunners Coaches Corner. Be sure to stay rowdy.
Metropolitan State University of Denver nurtures student aspiration and empowers lifelong success through personal attention and professional experience in an inclusive environment. Located in the heart of downtown Denver, the university offers broad access to a transformative undergraduate and graduate education on Colorado's most diverse college campus. And as a gateway to opportunity, MSU Denver advances the intellectual, social, cultural, and economic well-being of Denver and beyond.